Hello, everybody, and welcome into another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be reviewing presents. As in, John, my presence is a present.
It's a gift. It's a
for
gift.
you specifically. Yeah.
No, obviously.
Joining me tonight, first up from Manhattan, New York City, please welcome John Schnars to the show.
Hello.
And next up from sunny San Francisco.
Yeah, let's go with that. I like it.
The star of, what's the name of the show, Rachel? For the Love of Dilfs?
Oh, yes. The name on everyone's lips this week. For the Love of Dilfs.
We're going to get to that probably later in the show. But first up, we're here to talk about something very classy. The movie Presents. I'll tell you my least favorite person of the week, John, and this is the lady sitting 3 or 4 rows in front of me, who I'll only
the
describe
list could have been so long, but let's
who
go
I'll
with
only
this lady
describe
sitting
this way. You know how sometimes you just look at a person and you know who they voted for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's this lady. She sat through all. First of all, this movie was like barely 90 minutes. She gets up.
It's listed at 1:24.
Turns around
24.
and as loudly as she possibly can, because she really wants everybody to hear, goes, "Well, there's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back." And I'm like, okay, God forbid someone made you think, lady. Sorry.
But what did she think she was getting into? This is always my question.
Who could say? I mean, it was sold as a horror film, which I'm not actually sure that it is.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have major caveats to what I'm saying. For the purposes of us discussing this film tonight, really breaking down what it is, that is my position. It's not super horror movie. If one single person comes at me next year, when we're at the end of the year, when we're doing year-ender votes, and you tell me you would have had this on your list, but you didn't because it's not a horror movie, no.
It's on the list for sure. Like I
know, John, but people make their own people make their own like moral choices when that's not the list is king.
It's about ghosts, guys. Like what category, what genre of film has ghosts in it?
All right, let's do it. Let's get into it here. Let's discuss Steven Soderbergh's Soderbergh's Presence.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Stop the prime time. Main feature.
We got to pause for a second, guys. I'm sorry. Stand by.
I'm very worried.
Are we still live streaming? Just I never know when we're pausing. Okay, good.
So, how you doing? I'm trying to vamp and my brain went blank. I'm also not good at improv.
I was checking Steven Soderbergh just to Oscar winner Steven Soderbergh.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you guys covered Unsane, which was like his previous sort of like spooky adjacent joint, yeah?
I believe there was an episode on it. I saw it, but I think I was not on that episode.
Gotcha. What about Magic Mike? Did you watch and review
Look,
Magic Mike?
I celebrate. I have not seen Magic Mike the Third, whatever it is, The Last Dance, I think it's called. The first 2 I saw in the theater, and love.
Interesting. Are you of the party that you feel like he was someone who like redefined the vision of masculinity with that film, or did you just like to watch him shimmy and shake it?
No, I would never have said that. At no point. Like,
we're back to Noring, I see. That didn't take long.
But like, they're just like fun movies. Like, this is one of those things.
Oh
where
yeah,
like,
there's a
contingent of people who thinks that.
Yes.
No, but like that movie. Wait, really?
Yes, that it was like
Oh
a defining vision of masculinity.
Did that many men even see it? I thought the movie was mostly for women.
I mean, ones that were dragged to the theater, maybe, or who
Right.
could be cast on for the love of dills.
All right, let's do it. Stand by.
All right.
John Schnars, you tell me what you think a DILF is.
I know what a DILF is. Come on. I know what a MILF
Say
is. Like,
it.
obviously, I think I could figure out what DILF on the.
Dentist.
I have a master's degree, so
I have a master's degree. Okay,
I'm not
John.
getting into this, Eric.
Calm down, Schnars.
I will not be dragged into this conversation.
Oh yeah, well I have a
didn't realize
liberal
that
arts.
DILFs were beneath you, John. How
Oh yeah, John. Well, I have a
interesting.
liberal arts degree from a college in Albany, New York. So you don't have that.
I just, I felt like you were challenging my deductive reasoning skills or something. So.
John, please bring us the word of the day.
Eric, today's word is white. That's WIGHT, white. I'm going to give you one definition: a spirit, ghost, or other supernatural being. Were you familiar with the word white?
I was. Yeah, I read fantasy sometimes.
I was
more.
going to say, you watched the Game of Thrones. You probably knew what a white was.
Also, I feel like playing Magic: The Gathering as a child prepared me for this.
Yeah, I think it was like there was a whole like category called whites. Old English, WIHT, wit, I guess, just meaning thing or creature. That's what we get as the origin here. White.
Love it. What's that have to do with this movie?
Presence, the film by Oscar-winning filmmaker Steven Soderbergh, presents the question: what if you were a white? So
Clipped and disseminated.
yeah. So yeah, presence.
Listen, we're all whites here, Rachel. Okay, like can't help it.
Why don't you give your fans a wave, John, and repeat that
From your heart.
It's WIGHT. All right.
Cancel.
White. Directed by Steven Soderbergh. Written by this guy David Cope. David Kopp, maybe. I'm not getting them. Just an incredible screenwriting IMDb page. So this is the guy. It's Soderbergh directing, David Kopp writing. He has credits on Indiana Jones. He has credits on Jurassic Park, War of the Worlds, Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi one. Like a real guy, like a real guy. The premise here is we have a family, and I am navigating back so that I can access their names. But there's a family of four. You've got a mom.
John, can you unplug out of back of your mic, please, and plug it back in? You're just like full popping the whole time.
I don't have no headset in. You want my mic?
No. Unplug the power from your mic and plug it back in. Let's see if that works. If not, I'm gonna have you leave the studio and come back.
No. How about now?
It's not the right mic.
Yeah.
Okay. How about now?
It's not popping at the moment. Can you tell me what you had for breakfast this morning?
What did I had yogurt and a cold brew.
That tracks.
right,
Look,
pick up
I
from the-
removed
pick up-
I removed all the shit from my desk that has Wi-Fi enablement. Like,
No,
I don't even
it's
know what to
not.
do at this point.
It's we're just trying to mitigate. That's all, John.
I understand.
Just pick up with a synopsis, and we're good.
Okay, so presents. We have a family. It is a family of 4. We have mom Rebecca, dad Chris, Tyler older brother, Chloe younger sister. They're moving into a new house. What we realize, I mean, this is like not a spoiler. It's, I think you'll see it in like descriptions of the movie, but I think it's actually pretty interesting. I didn't necessarily go in knowing this, but it's obvious from the jump. We, the camera, the audience, are in the view, like we're in the
POV.
shoes, the POV of a ghost that is living in this house that they are moving into. And we see this like from the realtor showing them the house all the way through to sort of the end of their relationship with this house. The kids are high schoolers, so the older brother's, a junior, senior. The daughter is younger. They're moving into this house. They're sort of like, I don't want to say like running away, but they're definitely like relocating because there's been issues in either the old school or like sort of, they're struggling. They're having some issues interpersonally, let's say. The daughter's best friend has recently died of a drug overdose. The implication is they're like moving one town over. And so we're sort of like following this family life through the POV of this ghost. And that's the setup. I mean, for a large part of the movie, a lot of the tension, I mean, maybe you could say the entire movie, like the tension is derived from the interpersonal relationships that we're watching, right? Between the mom and the daughter, the mom and the son, the mom and the dad, and then the dad and the sort of, it's all 4 of it. It is a family unit. We're like seeing the most intimate moments of their lives through the POV of a ghost. The ghost starts to interact pretty early on, let's call it like within the first act, or sort of as the first act is transitioning to the second act. There's some other characters that come in. Most principally is like this friend of the brothers, who then becomes this sort of like hookup friend / boyfriend of the sister. The parents are both working all the time. The kids are home alone. The friend of the brother / boyfriend / whatever we're going to call him, increasingly, it not out of the gate, but you increasingly get this sense that he's like there's like a little predator-y vibe to him. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm curious, like here, like when you all sort of like started to get like real negative vibes on it, but
instantly,
the action really turns on him making an attempt to basically like date rape the daughter and being prevented by the ghost. And then him, the boyfriend / friend of the brother, making this like more intricate plan to kind of continue what he was trying to do. And, the dramatic tension all derives from like, we and the ghost have seen a lot, and how is this thing going to play out?
Okay. Rachel, what'd you think?
Oh, I'm a little nervous to talk about my feelings on this one. No, I mean, I've been kind of sitting with this one for a few days, trying to kind of unwind my feelings about it, because I want to make sure that where I land is not about my expectations going into the film versus what I ended up seeing, because I do think marketing was a little misleading. I also saw like friends' reactions to it really strongly, and I was like, oh, this is going to be the scariest thing I've ever seen. So like I was expecting a different film. So I didn't want to just like knee-jerk react to that.
I do think the marketing did it dirty for sure, because it's not what it is.
Sure.
It's a very interesting, like, it's a very interesting thing. It's not a scary horror movie.
No. And I think objectively, like if I look at it objectively, it is a very accomplished film. I think the performances to a person are excellent. The dynamics between the people feel very real, very lived in, and I think the gimmick of looking in and peeking in on this family very voyeuristically in their like most intimate moments, as you said, John, is a really clever one. The seeing the film exclusively through the ghost POV with this sort of like fisheye lens. I don't know if that's actually the lens they use.
Yeah, it's like
But
a fish eyes maybe. It's like a wide angle lens though, for
It's
sure.
distorting of
yeah,
the
like the
especially when it's
vignettes.
projected on a big screen.
Yeah, so it does really make you feel like you are haunting this film in a way that I think is really, really interesting. And there are beats of this that I was like pretty profoundly emotionally impacted by it, particularly in those like later acts, the things that are happening with those final sort of, characters. I'm trying not to spoil everything. But despite all of these like objectively good things, the thing that I've been like kind of trying to work through is why I still kind of was left feeling cold about the film. And I think what it comes down to is that despite it being a unique spin on the storytelling, the story itself felt really rote to me. And the characters, while realistic, felt very well-worn archetypal like they fit to a very specific archetype that I'm quite familiar with. And I started thinking about how, John, how you felt about Strange Darling, where I think that this objectively is the most interesting way to tell this story. I'm not sure that I was actually that compelled by the story itself, and I don't know that even though the end is interesting, that from a character perspective it was earned. So I get why people love this. And I'm so glad people love it. I just don't know. It did not connect to me. And it felt a bit like a COVID era movie. Like it was so confined that
It's
I
a small
was
little
thinking
thing,
that.
like
Yeah.
experimental thing almost. Yeah.
So I'm going to go sit with that lady that sat 4 rows in front of you and be a hater. And you're
Who did
thinking,
you
"Oh,
vote
you're
for,
right."
I don't
Rachel?
think you're hating. That's a very well
I
argued
thought a lot about it
critique.
because I wanted
Rachel,
to love it.
that's a more cogent sentence than that woman has formed in her entire life. So I wouldn't
I
stress
was
about
also
it.
that lady stood up at the end of the movie and yelled about it. You've clearly done your work here.
You
so-
waited. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
John, what do you think?
I think I love this movie. And I should just apologize if Rachel, I was any part of the influence, because like I texted and I was like, hey, have you guys seen this movie? Because it like fucked me up a little bit. I was a little having just like going through it. I had the weirdest, just quick aside, I had the weirdest screening situation because I went to one of the regular theaters I go to. It was at 10:30 in the morning on a Monday. Not the time most people are going to the movies, but in New York City, it's not unheard of. I show up, there's like 75 kids, like high school kids, waiting in line for popcorn. I was like, holy shit. They're there to like basically see a field trip screening of Mufasa. And I was just like, whew. I go into my theater and all the lights are on. There's like one old dude sitting like 3 rows away from me.
Right.
And I'm sitting there and like the time for the movie comes up and it like passes. And I'm like, this is weird. That dude's not moving at all. I finally go outside and I'm like, hey guys, are we playing this movie today? Like, what are we doing? And literally the guys are like, oh, sorry. It's been so crazy this morning. We'll figure it out. He comes in. He's like,
What?
just heads up. We're not going to show any trailers. We're just starting the movie. It was like one of these things. I've never seen anything like it. No, Rachel, I was totally like, let's go.
Hell yeah.
Sounds
That's
good.
an ideal situation right there.
No, it was really nice. Look, at some level it is a gimmick film. I think if the gimmick works for you, like the movie's going to work. And I wouldn't say it was like a slam dunk for me, but I was definitely in it enough and I was sort of like willing to go with it enough. For me, what carries it, I think the performances are all really, really strong. It's interesting because on the IMDb, the brother this is his first credit. I think the daughter has done a little bit more. So you have Lucy Liu as the mom, and then this guy whose name I'm gonna, where is it? Chris Sullivan. He plays Chris, the dad. Apparently, he was on 100 episodes of that show, that network fucking
This Is
drama
Us.
show. This Is Us.
Yeah.
Yes. Which I've never seen a single second of.
No, I
Not one.
clocked that. I've seen a couple episodes, but I remember that from it.
I was with this family.
He's great. He's great now.
I'm gonna just say a thing, and like, Rachel, you can call me an asshole after I say it, and we'll just move on. But like, as a parent, I found this movie fucking brutal to
Yeah.
I
sit
think
through.
that's fair. I actually think that's super, super fair. Like you had a
Like-
way into this that I just didn't have.
No, and like, maybe that's all it is. This movie is like it's like, at some level, it's about raising teenagers. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like the screenwriter has kids who like just went into college or something, and he's like
Yeah.
processing his own.
No, there was a lot
shit.
of deep experience that went into all the relationships in this movie. Let's say that.
And you know, my oldest is about to turn 11, and I'm just sitting there watching this movie being like, oh my God. And you all know I'm like famous for saying that I don't believe like teen behavior, especially in some of these movies we watch.
Mhm.
This felt like realistic to me.
Yeah.
Now, some of that is like, we don't actually, it's not like there's no like big party scene. There's
You
like
know what it
three
was?
characters.
You know what it was for me, John? Like
Mm.
when your kids are little, you're their whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a safety in that because you sort of level set what reality is to them and show them who to be and teach them things. But very early on, like could be very early if they're going to daycare at a really young age. But once they're kind of regularly being exposed to other children, very like started to acutely feel like you are slowly losing them inch by inch every second of every day. It's like this entropy thing that you just can't stop thinking about. And you and I have younger kids who are not quite like, you know, my oldest is 8 or something, you know, and it's like, but I can extrapolate that out to a teenager. What you see here are like, these are autonomous people who have in some ways gone down dark roads. And what you see very deeply is the parents just struggling to hold on to any sense of being their authority figures or world or whatever.
Yes. So let me just to like try to land where I was like being emotionally impacted by this. You also have two, and Eric, I can't remember how you framed it when we were texting, but like you have two striving parents, like who are working a lot, who are potentially, I don't even think they're bad parents. I think the mom is like verging on being a bad parent because she's like, and this is, we didn't even mention it, but like
I
there's
think
this whole
that
subplot about the mom being basically like about to be indicted for securities fraud or something, you know, like that.
yeah,
that is distracting them from their relationship and from the way they're parenting in a way that's
bad
like,
parents, like that's, I don't know, like how do you even say that? But like what you do see very clearly is that they don't get along. The parents fight. They've got like major issues, and they've essentially both chosen a child to be their like confidant,
yes.
which is not healthy, like at all. And then it's also turning the children against each other. And that's sort of like, I take your point, Rachel, about the well-worn territory. I do actually think they're pretty well drawn, though. Like there's a lot of depth there, in particular with, I don't know, just the way they're all aligned with each other, I thought was pretty well fleshed out.
Well, just to close
Maybe
out,
not
and I'll
depth in the
stop.
characters as much as depth in their relationships with each other.
To me, this is actually like, there's a version of this movie that exists that's like a stage play,
Mm-hmm.
but like
Totally,
the
totally has
gimmick,
stage play vibes.
the gimmick. I mean, the gimmick of this thing is it doesn't leave the house because the ghost can't leave the house. So we only get to see their experience, the lives that they live in this house. That is a stage play gimmick at a certain level. But I thought they did enough with cinematography to make this actually super compelling. They
It's a
shot
really-
this movie
Yeah.
for $2 million. Like
It's
it's,
a really
like a
nice-
fucking super low budget movie.
It's a really nice looking movie, despite the fact that we're in a fairly small house.
Yeah.
We never
The
leave.
other-
It's the same camera.
The other piece of this stage play is like there's some really long take scenes. There's a couple of scenes that run and run and run. And like you even get like long camera moves.
Mhm.
I'm so curious to see like, because I assume it was shot on iPhone. We got to touch quickly on the Steven Soderbergh retirement, and then he goes and like he's made like 5 movies since he theoretically retired. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's only working with Apple devices at this point, and I assume this was shot on iPhone, although I didn't research that.
Yeah.
I like, was there just like a dude who was like, or,
I mean,
or
it's
lady?
Him. It's
Is
him.
it Soderbergh shooting
Yeah,
this thing?
he uses a different name, but he shoots all of it. He's his own cinematographer.
So there's most
Yeah,
likely
yeah,
like a fully counterweighted rig that suspends the phone in front of him and
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
moves with
I've
his body.
seen that.
Because
Yeah,
you
I've seen
can see, I think what's interesting about it, they didn't fully turn it into a glide, which they could have. I felt like there was like 20% of you could see steps in the
Mhm.
movement of the camera, which I
Well,
thought
because it
was
was a
like an
ghost.
interesting choice,
It was a,
which kind of
it was a
personifies it
human.
a little
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. So yeah, that I ended up. I really like this movie. That's where
It was
landed.
shot on an Sony A7, which is not a super fancy camera, but that's yeah.
Okay.
I very much enjoyed this. I think it is stage play is a great comparison. It's like a really fascinating little experiment, weirdly akin to that slasher thing we did. Like
Yeah.
it's a kind of similar thought of like, what if we completely changed the POV of this story to the point of view of what's traditionally like the villain or the scary thing
You're talking about In a Violent Nature.
in a violent
Mhm.
nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's neat about it in this case is it kind of turns it, and I guess I thought this too about that one. It feels like a found footage movie,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because
Yeah.
we are a fly on the wall, often like almost spying on people.
But we don't have to pretend that there's a fucking camera that I have to like
Sure,
imagine
exactly.
who
Yeah,
made the
yeah,
footage
totally.
after the
But it-
fact.
what it does
thank
is,
for
you know,
that.
You got this wide angle lens, so things in the middle are pretty normal, but then as you go out to the edges, it gets, you know, it gets starts to get distorted. And what that creates is this lovely kind of windswept effect where like when the camera pans, it's like sweeping. Like you feel
Yeah.
it sweep because of how wide the outer edges are and the field of view. And it gives it this very like beautiful, lyrical kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
I think that for me, I think all the actors are doing like a fantastic job. Lucy Liu is really the standout for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I run into Lucy Liu in character out in public, and I'm like, yo, stay out of this lady's way. Like she's fucking serious. That just like social climber, like butt clenched yuppie mom. Like there's just, and I don't mean to say that like I don't have any empathy for her, but like, man, that is a type, is all I'm saying. I think that like the you talk about the relationships being well drawn, like what it is in a lot of ways is like a deep look at like codependence, different kinds of codependence. Like the husband has his own kind and she has her own kind, and then they're both also doing it with the children. It's just a deeply like, you know, are they bad parents? That's not really a thing I would say most of the time. Maybe that lady in the theater, she's probably a bad parent, but I think this is a deeply unhealthy family unit. And what the film, it's got this other thing, it's planned this overarching story about, there really is more horror in the end, which honestly, if anything, I'm like, I'm not sure it needed that. If I do have any criticism, that might be my thing. Like it goes,
It's too neat.
it goes a little over the top.
You
I'm
mean
talking about the
the serial
boyfriend.
killer? Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
serial
Like
killer
I don't
situation.
think it needed that, except at some level I think it seems like they felt like it did need to be a horror film in the end, and that's where that comes from. But to me, the riveting
Well,
stuff is this family unit. It's like it made me think of Hereditary, because
Oh.
these scenes were making me so fucking uncomfortable watching this
Yes.
family fight. wanting to
100% agree.
crawl out of my skin, and that
Yeah.
made me think of those dinner scenes in Hereditary.
Dude, when the mom's like drinking whiskey and like telling the son that she's like, "I'd do it all for you,"
I
and he's
literally
like,
thought she
"Go
was
to
gonna try
bed."
to make out with him. Like
It was
was
very uncomfortable.
that was so deeply
You were right.
inappropriate
It
on
was
so
like
many
going.
levels.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's what I'm
As
talking
the least
about.
favorite child, all I can think about is what happens next in that dynamic and the level of resentment that she's gonna have.
Like there's like a
towards the daughter.
parentification of the children happening, right? Like there's just all kinds of unhealthy shit. But that's what the meat of the movie is. It's really like there is this plot that gets unfolded. There's this kind of red herring about the mother kind of having gotten them in some kind of legal trouble. Sounded like probably some kind of money like fraud or like some kind of, I don't know, white
Yeah.
collar crime kind of situation because she's the lawyer.
Insider trading or
Well,
some
the
shit.
dad is at one point we see him having the phone call with a different lawyer to basically be like, "Hey, if I divorce
I was like,
her,
get out while you
am,
can.
am I exposed to her nonsense?" Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny, like I say red herring because it doesn't pay off in the end. You don't actually find out what that was about, which is kind of interesting.
No. But
Um,
it matters narratively because it like is the thing that's distracting them, and then it's the thing that gets them out of the house because the husband decides he needs to go with her on this like work trip.
I think it definitely wants to be something a little elevated, but it also wants to have its genre cake and eat it too, which to Rachel's point, I'm not against it at all. I think to me, it's like a very tight little, really interesting experiment, honestly.
Well,
Yeah, I think that's
you
fair.
you said like you didn't know if it needed the genre piece or the the serial killer piece, what I'll call it. I don't know what the crux of the movie is at that point. Like if you
Well,
lose
that's what I'm
that,
saying. I actually love this stuff so much. I would have been happy with a fully fart smelly version where it ends and you're just like, sure, dude, that seemed really smart.
where like the
Yeah.
family's just like fighting and then they like break up and there's a ghost that's just like
The ghost just gets sad and goes away. Yeah.
I actually was pretty impressed is like maybe not the right word. Like I thought it's like a very nicely drawn script in the way that look, they do not this is not it's a ghost movie, but it's not one where like we dwell a lot on like what are the rules of the ghost? Like the ghost is like blah. It's just like they give you this one scene where the family brings in a medium or a person who's like exposed to this, and that gives you just enough to kind of like work through in the context of the film. And otherwise it's like a handful. There's like snippets about the mirror. There's snippets about one of the thing that she says that's like the most important, the medium, the thing that she says that's most important is like that the ghost is out of time and dislocated and doesn't understand sort of even what it's there for. And so you sort of, because we're experiencing, Eric, you referenced found footage, like we're experiencing the action of this film as if it's like pretty choppy. And that, it at least gave us an out to be like, well, that's how the ghost is experiencing it because it's the whatever, it's dislocated from time. I don't know, Rachel, that did not
I don't
work
love
for
a
you.
paradox. I don't love a paradox. Like it bothers me. I'm like trying to hand wave it away. I'm
What?
actively trying to.
The cuts?
No,
No, the paradox
ending.
of who the ghost is. Like, how does the ghost be
Oh, yeah,
there?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I understand that they like
Beyond space and time, Rachel.
this does a very good job of breadcrumbing things. Like when you go back, there's significance to just about every single conversation about like being a better man and like making mistakes, know how big they are for someone. Like it's all there, but it's a lot of telling and not a lot of like actual character arc. And then you like we're expected to just ignore the obvious paradox, and I'm struggling with that a little bit. I want to get to where you guys are. I want to love this movie because I feel left out in the cold. But these things are just like they're just nagging at me in a way that is making it hard for me to like heart connect to this movie, despite the fact that there are definitely moments in this that I did really like the father-daughter relationship, and like maybe it's because I lost my dad last year, like that stuff was really impactful for me. There's stuff here. It just for some reason I think maybe because of the neatness of the end and the fact that it like sort of shifts genres at the end and then goes like waves away logic, kind of robbed me of the experience that you guys ultimately had with this.
I look, what like the things you're calling out and the like paradox at the center of it, I just sort of was like, okay. And
Fair.
some
I
of that
mean,
is like,
Yeah.
it's,
and sometimes I
you
can,
know,
and sometimes I can't.
no, I know. And this is where maybe, it's hypocritical of me at some level because I'm usually the one like
Yeah.
nitpicking on this shit. No, but look,
It
it's
sucks to be John. I want to be. I want
well,
to be Casey. I want to love
as
it.
as we mentioned, like it's an 80-minute movie. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
it's super tight. And to your point, like, and this is sort of where I was going. Like, I think the script and why when I looked up the screenwriter and was like, oh wow, he's done a shitload. It makes a lot more sense because this thing is like, it's like a little polished gem of a script in some way. And I use gem not to mean like a perfect, right? Like it's just like it it had been dialed in a way that's like feels very professional and like,
Let me.
assured.
What smart things can we gather from the exercise of putting us in the point of view of a ghost? I thought that was really fascinating, and I found myself wondering, is that like a larger meta commentary on viewers, on the experience of viewing a film?
I mean,
Are we always a ghost, John?
Well, look, I think you connected this to found footage, which wasn't a place that I went to myself personally, but like I Soderbergh's playing with cinema. Like this is what he does, right? Like Sex Lies and Videotape is like his first movie.
Yeah, there's
right?
something
like,
that's what I'm
about
saying.
it.
Like, yeah.
There's something about it
it's
that
Magic Mike.
like there's something about it that I feel like it's inviting you to consider the importance of point of view.
Yes. Also, I think it like creates this interesting permission structure and like commentary on voyeurism and in the most intimate of moments. Like it's telling this very behind closed doors. Like this is how these people exist, only behind closed doors, only when they're in their rooms. And whenever we put a camera, like we watch a film, we're like putting a camera in those places. So I do think there is something being said there about it. Like maybe, but I don't know if I'm smart enough to like get all the way there.
Well, if
with
you're
it.
not, I'm definitely not. So
well, I don't know that anything. I mean, look, I don't. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. I don't know that anything explicit is being said or as. I do think it's just from a storytelling perspective. It's like it's a unique thing. Like,
I don't think
look,
it's explicit. I think it's another kind of undercurrent of what's kind of being played with here. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like maybe it
no,
just
no, totally.
I was thinking about it, but I was also like, I'm not really smart enough to figure this
The
out.
thing I was trying to figure out while I was watching it was like, and this was before I think I don't know. I didn't really know where they were going with the ghost until like kind of the reveal. Like, I mean, by that point you sort of have a sense, but the ghost hides in the closet. You guys notice that? Like, even the first shot of the film is like the ghost in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like hears someone driving up, or it like thinks it hears someone, but then it like retreats to and I just like could not for the life of me figure out what the closet was about. That's what I was like kind of like stewing on a bit. And but this is where I come back sort of maybe to your question, Eric. Like, I don't know that it's meant to mean, I don't think the closet means anything. I think the ghost is meant to be.
I think my
almost
argument on the closet would be that it backs up the assertion that the spirit doesn't even really know what it is or why it's there.
Exactly. It's
Because
almost
the
a blank
spirit, if
slate.
it knew it was dead, would know that it doesn't have to hide, but it doesn't know that
Yes.
at first.
Yeah.
And it's there are interesting moments where the children, quote unquote, like they see it at certain points or they sense it.
Well,
And the
so-
adults, I don't think the
Yeah.
adults do, or do they? As time
They
goes on.
only
Well-
see it when it tears apart his room. They only see
And then
it
the
Right.
mom
aftermath
sees
of-
it.
yeah.
The mom sees it at the very end,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah. Right,
the
right,
whole
in the
point, and
mirror.
that
this is
shot
like,
gave me chills. I'm not gonna lie. That actually creeped me out.
But this is where when the woman, the medium, whatever, the woman comes to visit the house, and she's like talking about the door and like if the door is open or like sometimes the door swings back. And like the whole thing was like the daughter has been close to death because of her friend. And so she's the one who's that was my understanding. It's like she's the one who can perceive this ghost. The brother cannot at any point in the film, as far as I can tell, and neither can the dad.
Not till towards the end. Remember when he's sitting on the couch, he starts to see it, and then he gets distracted by the friend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
But he's
Right at the
also
end.
now close to death. So
Yeah,
the logic.
yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying. Yeah, that all works, and I did love when the medium came in, because you're also along with the family trying to assess if she's a charlatan, if she's legit, and
One of my
all of her like
favorite-
eye darts toward the ghost were actually quite effective.
Yes.
One of my favorite movie tropes is like a medium shows up and is immediately like, fuck this place. Like that's like my favorite thing. Paranormal Activity
I
did
was
that to
literally gonna
great
say that's the best one.
did
where
that to
he's
great
like,
effect
"Nope,
as well.
I'm leaving.
I love when she first opens the door, the reason she reacts the way she does is because the ghost, the camera, are right up in her shit when the door
Yeah, yeah.
opens. And so
She's like, oh, she just looks over like your character. Yeah.
yeah.
Totally.
I don't know. That's the stuff as you just said it, like I like that the audience is treated as a character, like the ghost is a character, we are the ghost. It's just a weird way to make a movie. Like it's a really unusual thing. And like, I don't know, it just ended up working for me. Do you guys want to guess how old the daughter is? Like real
life?
The actor's
Is this
age?
one of those things where she looks like a fetus, but she's like,
I'm going to say
collecting Medi-Cal?
24.
I think she's 26. I looked it up. I only looked this up today.
Wow.
I swear to God, I thought she was 12. I was like, is this woman?
No.
She's so young looking. I mean, maybe whatever they're doing there, but yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, she gives a very soulful performance. Like this is my like internal sort of dissonance is around like recognizing how objectively all of these things are really great, and why don't I love it? Why don't I connect with it more?
Rachel, it's okay if you don't like it.
Yeah,
I
you're
know,
allowed
but
to.
it doesn't make sense to me, because everything you're saying, I'm like, yes, that is correct. I agree. So
How did you feel that day? How was your blood sugar? I know that that happens
it was.
to
I
me.
did. Go
Had
to
you
a
had
really
any
late
pistachios,
showing,
like-
and there was a very annoying guy behind me. So maybe it's his fault. Maybe
I
it
brought
was-
pistachios in, and what was the other thing? I had two things. Oh, and rice cakes.
I had popcorn.
need more
like an
nuts, is
American.
what I'm saying,
okay, like a true-blooded American.
Yeah.
Got
Good
my
times.
fiber.
It's got fiber.
Got some good vitamins in there, some protein. I was ready to go. Love it. All right. Would you recommend this movie, Rachel?
Honestly, yes, because I feel like I'm alone on an island, and other people will appreciate the recommendation.
Rachel, you have to say no if you didn't like it. That's how this works.
No, you're not the boss of me.
I'm not. I know. I'm sorry.
John?
Yeah, I would recommend. Thumbs up.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's great, and I would honestly recommend seeing the theater, even though it is a small stage play kind of vibe. The cinematography is just a thing to behold. I feel like so it's cool. It's cool on a big screen. Just watching. Somebody on Slack, I think it was Dot, mentioned it making her. She gets nauseous from found footage, and apparently had the same thing here. It doesn't faze me, but found footage doesn't generally. But yeah, I'm a thumbs up. Let's take a quick break and do some fan mail. John, can you unplug your mic? Don't do it from the back, though. Just do it from the computer.
Yeah, that's what I did the last time.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or on Twitter using hashtag.
It did get better, and then I just started getting worse again.
Join Patreon to get back episodes and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
It's happening. My list has been renamed to 2025,
I was gonna ask if you were going to your list.
and I'm
Got
gonna
that thing
excited.
open.
put this, John. January 26th. This is the #1 horror movie of 2025.
Steven Soderbergh's won an Oscar, but now
This is the real honor.
Right?
he's really
Yeah.
achieved. so
Mhm, mhm. Rachel, tell me about DILFs, please.
Well, I'm in a position to judge them, apparently. I am the arbiter of DILFs.
The Arbiter of DILFs. That's a pretty awesome fantasy title, like fantasy name.
The arbiter of DILFs, yeah. Yeah. I
Or
can
that's
see
like a
that.
Star Wars. That's like a, it's a side Star Wars character. The Arbiter of DILFs.
Yeah, I mean, different lifesavers, but,
That's
like,
right.
yes.
Tell people about this, just in case they don't know. What is this thing you're doing?
So
it's pretty
there
wild.
is this show. It's on Out TV. If you have Roku, you should be able to get it. You can even I think you can probably buy individual episodes on Prime. Although you would want to, I would assume you would want to start at the very beginning because you would want to see every plot beat and intricate plotting of this series.
You need
But
to
it's a
follow the
reality dating
characters,
show.
you know?
Yes, it's a reality dating show that is like an intergenerational experiment in love. And the daddies are older gay men, and the himbos are younger, like more muscly, looking for someone to take care of them, men and non-binary folks. And you have to kind of pair up and find love. And, drama happens when people start daddy or himbo hopping. It's hosted by Stormy Daniels. And I
Wow.
had
Legit.
the honor. Yeah.
John, you didn't watch the teaser. It's amazing.
no, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Rachel's
I'm
like
learning
the
about this in
star.
real time.
So it was the penultimate episode this year. I got to go on as the, and interview each of the remaining couples to see who had real chemistry and select 2 to like automatically go to the finale based on those interviews.
Let
And
me
so
ask
that
you
came
a very
out this
important
week.
question, Rachel.
Yes.
Was it purely your vote? Or was this
Yes.
rigged like the NFL playoffs?
No, well, I can't speak to the NFL playoffs, but not only was it not rigged, they make you record a thing where you say that the producers have not influenced my vote.
I like that. I
legal-
like integrity in my DILF shows, you know?
Yes.
Wow.
When you watch it, you'll see I have a very ornate necklace on. That is a microphone. Like I walked in and there was like a table that was lined up with like various
And they had them like
necklaces.
built in.
There was like 9 puka shells and then this like diamante encrusted thing. I was like, that one.
Amazing.
But yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Behind the scenes, this is great. All right.
Yeah.
I think Suzanne could watch this, right? She likes the reality.
I mean,
Television.
it's pretty awesome. I was impressed by the whole endeavor.
Like the concept sounds camp and cringe, and it is a little bit. Like, let's be honest, it is. But it's actually quite a bit better than it has any business being. It's very, very funny. There's a lot of like voiceover that they do, but then there's also a lot of really interesting conversations around like consent and sex work and sexual health and then politics, obviously, with Stormy there. It's a much better show than it
One
has
of
any
our
business
most
being.
important political commentators, Stormy Daniels.
I mean, honestly,
She's more
I know
qualified
you're
than the
making
president.
fun, but
I don't know
She's-
what she's doing at any moment of the day.
well, I
/
can
week.
tell you, like, she's put herself, like, her life literally on the line. So let's
Okay.
put some respect on her name, John.
She's fighting for the resistance, John. What are you doing?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I will
Just
tell you when
trying to
the
keep my
first
head on
season I
straight.
did this, we shot in Miami on the water, and every time a boat came by, the whole production had to go inside really fast because they were like worried about snipers. This time we were shot out, and I can't say where, but like out in the middle of nowhere, and it was like much less security required. But I don't know. Who knows what it'll look like for the next season? Probably beefed up again.
Terrifying. Well,
Mhm.
how can people see that again?
It's on Out TV, so like wherever you can get a hold of that, it's like one of those like channels that you can get through Amazon or
Wherever you
on
get your
Roku.
Out TV, but they're not
Wherever you
posted
get your
online
Out TV.
anywhere.
It's not on YouTube.
I don't know. I mean, like for friends and family, I might be able to hook you up with a screener.
Well, no, I'm trying to drive
Hello.
people to your thing here.
I would just Google it. Like, I don't know all the streaming services. I just like who carries Out TV, but like Acorn is an thing you can add on to your Prime. I believe Out TV is as well, and you can
Okay.
purchase individual episodes.
There you go. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
All right. One email this week. It's from Aussie Andy. John, he was talking about how he works for the Australian government on Slack.
Yeah.
And I was saying he used to write us in like 18 years ago. And we were tickled by the fact that his email said like, this email is sent from like the Australian government. Anyway, he says, yes, we are watching you and monitoring you to see if you'd make a good addition to Australia. Anyway, let's ask a question that will have nothing to do with the show. If you and the crew were to move to Australia where you would live, would you be worried about drop bears? And would you be up for a Bunnings sausage sizzle? I clicked on this link. This kind of sausage disgusts me. This like link sausage.
Is it? It sounds not gluten free.
Oh, no, it probably is, but it just looks vile. I don't. No, thank you.
Wait, it's just like link sausage? Like
It's like almost like it looks like you threw an Italian sausage on a grill. I'm sure it's not an Italian sausage, but
amazing. Love it.
no, I'm all set. with
Yes, would eat.
that. I don't know what a drop bear is. Oh, is that
I don't
that's
know
what
what
they
the drop
It's a
call?
koala bear. Yeah, you gotta be careful with them. They all have chlamydia.
I have heard that. I have heard that.
Yeah. So,
So you
if
just
I was gonna
like,
move
when
to
you say be
Australia,
careful,
I
you
would
mean like don't have sexual relations with a
like
koala,
don't
or
touch them. They have chlamydia on them.
This says the drop bear is a fictional carnivorous marsupial from Australian folklore. It is a hoax intended to scare people, especially tourists.
Oh, well, there you go.
So there you go.
I would.
That's
move
less scary than chlamydia, I guess.
to- Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
Is it? But I'll never be anywhere near a drop bear, John. So
You don't think you'll ever go to Australia?
do I seem like a traveler to you, Rachel?
I don't know. Life is full of
It is ironic
the
because actually,
unexpected.
when I
If
was
you
a
had to
kid,
raw
if
dog
you
one of those 20-hour flights.
yeah, fucking
It could
hell
be the
no.
end.
When I was a kid, if you had said to me like, "Where's the one place you want to travel?" I probably would have said Australia. Ironically,
Too many spiders. I'm going to New Zealand.
the spiders are terrible. You think they don't have spiders in New Zealand? Isn't it just like?
They have one kind that are venomous and they're shy, so we rarely ever see them.
I
Yes,
love
I have
you've done.
researched this.
You've done spider research.
Yeah, I want to know where in the
I love
world I
that.
could go to not have to worry about my ears being invaded, and New Zealand is the answer.
You and Elon Musk and the other
Never,
know,
ever put us in the
Newlands
same
and
sentence,
New
please.
Zealand colonizers. Okay.
All right. We have not a single question on threads. So let's go to Instagram.
Ah, threads. Do better.
It's because Casey's not
better.
here.
That's fair.
All right. Let's see what we got. Grimbo Dicky, any idea why the mother doing dodgy deals never came to anything? I don't know. It's interesting.
I did.
It's interesting
kinda
you
wanna
wouldn't
know what she
reveal
was
it.
up to.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess ultimately it doesn't matter, but it just you spend so much of the runtime watching her delete emails and shit that I needed some closure.
Oh man, that
Her
kind of
deleting
awkward
emails.
shit.
Yeah.
That kind of awkward shit though, where it's like two partners who like don't trust each other, and there's this like veneer of civility between them. Made me want to just crawl out of my
Fucking
goddamn
around.
skin.
Yeah, it was pretty
like,
bad.
Ugh. Like he's like, "What you doing?" She's like, "Oh, nothing," and like shutting her laptop. I'm like, "This thing- just kill me, just fucking kill me." This is the worst. Couldn't be me. Brian Wolford, who drugs their date after they have sex? Jesus Christ, Brian.
Serial
I should have read
killers.
that. Yeah, this dude, this creepy ass. We didn't talk about how creepy the
We did
boyfriend
not
is, but
talk.
holy shit,
I
he's
mean,
scary.
I'm sure that actor's a lovely person in real life, but like
Maybe.
he will never play anything but a creepy creepo
Such a
rapist dude.
deep creeper.
Like, he
I'm pretty sure
has
he's a
creepo
child
face.
actor. I was looking, like, it looks like he's been active for a long time.
I bet he was a bully in every single movie. Not
Yeah.
one of those was he an inspirational child that taught you a lesson about life. He was the kid that was
Oh, this
like
poor guy.
pulling a piggy tail, stepping on your cat. I don't know. Like he
I think I texted you guys. I thought he was great
He's great.
in that I was like, holy shit, I am so creeped out by this guy.
On site. Like he
Really
does this thing
good.
where he kind of like does the villain thing, which would be camp, but like his little horn hair, everything was just on
Well,
site.
he's also like
His hair
emotionally
farmer.
manipulating.
He's
Yeah.
so Brock Turner coded that like on site,
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
gross.
He's emotionally manipulating from the
Heart-
drop.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
from
Mhm.
literally like the first second that you meet him. And
mhm,
yeah, it's rough.
mhm.
Um,
But I'm sure he's lovely in real life. Sorry.
No, he's probably a nice guy.
Polly Muller, do you hate it when people stand behind you and look over your shoulder at what you're doing? I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Dude,
not my favorite.
Paulie, when you have children,
That's your whole fucking
that's
life. yeah.
basically like 90% of what if you think you're gonna look at your phone in front of your kids without them coming over and being like, hey, what are you looking at? Have another thing.
Just like that.
It honestly
that?
like trains the parents to not look at the phone in my experience, because I'm just like, I don't want to look at the phone because I don't want them coming over and being up in my shit.
Yeah, I literally just
So
stiff
I'll just
arm.
I'm just
push
gonna
away.
sit here and like stare into space until they're somewhere else.
You absolutely, when you become a parent, master the art of like intentional disassociation.
No wonder
Like-
you can raw dog a flight.
Like I'm, yeah,
You're raw
no,
dogging
I'm not.
life.
It's fully related. Like you fully gain the ability to just fucking leave your body at any time.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if I
Dads-
would go that far, but I
Dads
don't want
also
them
do
looking at my
this
phone.
by going to the bathroom and staying in there for a while. I don't know if you ever done that. One.
Oh well, yeah.
Just taking a
obviously.
luxurious dump so you can just get away.
Just are my legs getting numb yet? I don't know. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I've been in a small apartment with children, John. I can't imagine what you got going on over there. No, thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Two more questions.
Legs getting-
One more question from Schnecky91. Ever felt a presence? Usually it's just my dog staring at me from across the room. So what do we got? Has there been a presence? Rachel, you feel like you have a presence story to me.
I mean, I don't know if I've told this story on the show before. When I was in Scotland and I had my like ghosty experience.
Tell us.
So
Were you
I
wearing
went-
the outfit that you're wearing now? Because that, like, it could have confused.
Do you feel
some
like
of
this
the-
is like a ghost attractor? Am I giving like?
It's more like an
Elsa
Irish
Rubinstein
thing,
and-
I would have said, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, well, I had bagpipes with it, so that really completed the look.
got him. Got him. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I went on this like cemetery ghost tour at midnight, whatever, super
There you
touristy,
go.
right?
Okay.
Whatever. So like they take you through the Greyfriars cemetery. It's very old. It's from like the plague era, right? So when you're walking through it, you see all of these old graves. They take you up and down these hills, and it's where like the famous grave robbings were taking place. Like if you've ever heard of those, like the duo that did it, this is the graveyard they stole from. And then
We
you're standing
watched
at
a
the top of
movie
the-
about it. They made a movie.
Yes, with Simon Pegg. I can't think of the
Yeah,
names,
well,
but
yeah. I know.
so this is where they were doing it. And they take you to the top of these hills, and they're like, by the way, when this was built, it was actually flat. What you're standing on are just graves on tops of graves on tops of graves. They show you where like all the torture took place. Like it's this whole thing. And at the end, they take you into the Black Mausoleum, and it's they take you through the penitentiary's prison, which is a yard where they just left hundreds of people to die of exposure. And then this they do the thing where they like jump up and scare you, right? Whatever. But while they were telling that last story, I was in this crowd with my then boyfriend, my Irish boyfriend, so he would have loved this outfit. He would like, yeah. We were standing in the back of the crowd, and I was like kind of up against the wall, and I had like this experience, and I don't know what it was. I can only tell you how I felt. I'm not going to say it's a ghost. I just know what I felt. Where the volume in the room went quiet. Like I could see the guy talking, but it just, the volume, like someone turned the volume down. And then I got cold, and I heard whispering like in my ear, and like it scared me. So I grabbed my boyfriend's hand, and it was like light, like someone turned the volume right back up. The whispering was gone. The temperature was totally normal again. And like we left and I
Fascinating.
told him about it and he was like, "You're full of shit." And I was like, "I'm not full of shit. I know what I fucking experienced." Surprise, surprise, that relationship did not last. But but yeah, like to this day, I don't know what I experienced, but I know that I experienced something and I heard like something like whispering and breath in my ear.
Wow.
So
I got
there you
nothing like that. So
No, I got
know.
nothing.
pretty scary.
well, maybe if you go to Australia, you'll have your
Maybe.
own
There you
haunting
go.
experience.
You got that drop bear creeping up on you.
Jace, I don't know if you missed this part of the show, but he says, "Was Eric eating pistachios raccoon style again?"
I do
Yes, sir,
have
I sure
questions
was.
about this. What is the volume on like if you're in there just like cracking them open? Is it loud?
No, it's actually not. And you know, it's funny because the week before I was so self-conscious about it, and then I'm like, this is the same volume as somebody just munching on some popcorn. So I was like,
Okay.
I actually was not stressed about it in this.
Okay.
I am very gingerly opening them. I am
Well, I
like
appreciate you.
just making a little crack.
The goblin behind me was like eating sticky, loud candy and crinkling at like the most
Ew.
quiet, emotional parts. I just hear.
Last comment of the night, John, from our friend Liz. Glad to hear you men admit your bathroom escapism. No, I'm not
There
hiding
you
it.
go.
I'm going to tell
There
you
you
a
go.
secret too. Sometimes I don't even have to poop. I just go in there.
I don't pull that.
Yet.
I will
That
say
I
this, now
know
that I
of.
live
I mean, I
alone
don't
and
know.
single parent, I do this much less. Let's say that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Good times.
But still, sometimes
Good
just, you know.
times.
What are we doing next week, John?
Companion comes out this week. We should just do the official check because this one did get pushed, but I believe this is like the real release.
No,
Rachel?
it's definitely coming. Yeah, no. It's
Okay.
definitely coming Friday
All
because I have deadlines and I am behind on them. So I know for
Okay.
sure.
But yeah, this one it was like meant to be earlier this year, and then it got a little bit of a push, and here we are, Companion.
All right. Love it. I'm pretty excited. You've seen it, Rachel, correct?
Twice. So I'm ready. to
Twice.
Twice.
Tells me what you think about it, I guess.
Good lord.
Well, I had to watch it and then I had to watch it again to prepare for the junket. But
I bet you took
it was-
notes.
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm a professional, okay? Like you don't end up on For Love of Dilfs if you're not a professional.
That's true. That's true.
You don't become a DILF expert overnight. You know, you got to put the work
Yeah.
in.
Years
pay
of
your
studies.
dues.
I also have a master's.
Masters of DILF.
I have a master's in Dilfology.
Apology.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, next week, Companion. And I'm really looking forward to Hard Eyes. I saw a trailer for that. That movie looks
Looks fun.
fun as hell.
Yeah.
It's
I
got a
have
good
seen
pedigree. It's got a great pedigree. Looks like it could be some really cheesy, fun slasher action. I think somebody was saying the Happy Death Day people are involved. There was, and someone else, I don't know, Rachel, I don't know, maybe you know this.
I'm trying to remember if who was because I thought that the Happy Death Day people was that Drop movie, which does not look good. So I don't know.
I don't know, but I like the trailer. I got a bunch of new trailers this week. I can't remember what they were, but I was texting you guys about them.
Well, we got Monkey.
I got
Oh,
that
the
Hell of a
full
Summer.
monkey trailer is batshit
Bonkers.
crazy.
Bonkers.
I am so excited for this movie now in a way that not that I
Oh.
wasn't before, but I was kind of like, all right, whatever. Holy shit! After that trailer, I was
Sold.
like, yes.
Well,
please.
did you guys see it? It like set the record in terms of like single day trailer views on YouTube or something. It was like some whatever. It's like one of
Interesting.
those things. It did like some crazy number of trailer views on YouTube. Yeah.
I can't
Oz
wait.
Perkins, he's quickly climbing my list. If this turns out what I think it is, I think he's one of my
I think
one
he's
of my
finally going to
go-tos.
have some fun, which I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's possible. That's what's crazy. Like after all of it, but I have not seen this new trailer. I kind of don't want to see it. I just want to
Don't.
go in cold.
Yeah, just going cold. Going
It's
cold.
the same
I wish
way with Hard Eyes.
didn't
I've seen
watch.
nothing.
I closed my eyes, but I heard things, and that was even too much. I wish I hadn't even heard
know.
things.
I
feel
like
that
that
way
Eric's
every day.
become the trailer guy, and I'm the one who's like, yeah, I'm not.
Well,
gonna see
I
these
will
trailers."
like part of it is though I do get intrigued by a new one, but
Mhm.
now that I've seen them as they keep coming up, like that's I'm gonna tune out
Yeah, you
because
gotta.
I think that's almost the problem is less seeing a trailer once as much as it is like 400 goddamn times. I feel like
Yeah.
then
I'm
that's
gonna
when like
give
things start getting ruined for you.
PSA, if you can, if you haven't already, try your mightiest not to watch a trailer for Companion. The teaser was
Yeah.
perfect.
Oh,
The
I've seen the trailer. Yeah.
oh fuck,
Well, I've seen the
it's so
trailer. I have
ruinous.
no idea what the movie's about. None. Like I just
If you've seen the trailer, you've seen too much. Like I went in ice cold. It was the
There's a
perfect way to
line in the
see it.
trailer that pretty much seems like it explains the whole plot.
I mean, there's still like a couple little twists and turns that I can't talk
Yeah.
about, but like
That's
the
fine.
trailer gives away like the main couple of them.
I mean, it is what it is. If it's good, it's good.
yeah.
But sometimes the discovery is part of the journey that's so fun. So
Yeah.
but you know what? You do.
I
You,
can't
Lou.
go back, Rachel. I'm not a spirit inhabiting a house beyond space and time.
It's true.
If I
Then
was,
what
One
are
then
you
I
day,
doing
would.
in my
Eric.
closet?
Dare to dream.
I just hide in my closet for fun. All right, y'all. That's gonna do it for presents next week. Companion. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you then.
See yous.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.